Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is, yeah, it's dead. That's how it is. I killed it. The microphone is now just a set piece. We're having to do this the old-fashioned way, which is I have a lapel mic on. This is how I'd shoot gaming content anyway, because I don't like having the mic in the shot. But this is not how I like to do it for this, because this is just more editing steps. And I've said it many times before, if something gets in the way for me, that's when I stop doing the thing. And so this audio interface I bought, let's see, it's been probably pre-COVID. We've been on this audio interface. When I switched away from Adobe Premiere, if you don't know, let's talk a little bit about audio. I'm shooting this on a Canon EOS mirrorless, the M3, M5, M something. And camera preamp is terrible. They sound bad. And on top of that, they have gain compensation so that if I stop talking, you'll hear this hiss as the mic tries to find sound. And so it's trying to balance levels. So when I talk, it brings the volume down. And then when I stop talking, this hiss comes in and it just sounds terrible. So with Adobe Premiere, when I was using that, when I was paying for that software, it was really easy to just denoise the signal, and it sounded great. So I did that for years with a phantom power for the mic plugged into the camera and using the camera's preamp. When I dropped Premiere because it just wasn't worth the price anymore, and I switched over to a free piece of software called Shotcut, it does not have that denoise feature. So there is a way to export the audio, use a tool like Audacity to clean the audio up, then bring it back in. But again, friction. I don't work well with friction. When there's steps like that I have to do, chances of me doing this continuously just dwindle to nothing. So I went and picked up a Behringer Xenix 502. This is their smallest, or was their smallest microphone preamp, XLR preamp. And I think this was about 70 bucks, and it worked well for years. Now, at some point, this was in the shop, and I must have dropped something on it or something, but the XLR port broke and was just kind of in there. And it still worked fine for all these years, or well, for at least a couple of years it's been working like this. But this weekend I came down here with the intent of, there's a fly. I need my, oh, sorry. I need my bug assault. It's right here. I use it all the time, Chris. Thank you for this. Chris bought me this. I use it to shoot bugs. Anyway, I came down here with the intent of making the box. That was one of my projects. I'm going to make the box. And so I was trying to measure this, and I took the mic cable out, and this thing was it finally was just loose. The pins broke off the back of it. It just became, there was no way to solder it back on. It's a through PCB, so there was no way for me to solder it back on. And that was Saturday. So I ordered some replacements. I could not find this exact piece, but I found a replacement that I could get today, or yesterday, that I could get yesterday for, that was close. I thought, but it's the right height, it's the right diameter hole, it would fit in here, and the screw holes would line up. That seems to be pretty universal. But what happened was the pins on this are not the same. They're close. They're really close. So I thought I'd be able to fix it today. Did not. That didn't happen. Yeah. I ended up melting the trace off the board. I have nothing to solder to anymore. This is officially dead. There's no coming back. I guess Maybe I could try to scrape the coating off the board and solder straight to the trace or something like that, but I've never done that kind of delicate work. Even with a precision soldering iron, I don't think I'd be able to pull it off. So I bit the bullet. I ordered a new single, this is a 5-input. I didn't need the 5-input, but it was cheap, like cheaper than the single inputs. And Behringer preamps are pretty solid, so I trusted it, and it's worked great. But now I have ordered a single input preamp that'll be here hopefully tomorrow, and we'll have this mic back up and running. Because doing it this way, I have to now import this audio and then match it up and get it working, and it's frustrating. When I'm doing the game videos, I don't mind it because I have 2 video cameras running and the audio, like I have to do a whole bunch of cutting and editing anyway. And so just adding in one more extra step of adding in the audio doesn't bother me that much. And this is pretty good quality. This is just a Sony, I don't even know what this is called. It doesn't have a model number. It's a little Sony, it's an IC recorder. And with a external mic, it sounds good. This actually sounds great without an external mic, as long as you don't fiddle with it. If you go back and watch the shed building video, I was touching it and rubbing it too much, and it sounds terrible. And it actually sounds pretty okay if you just leave it sitting on a table and talk. It works really, really well, and it's way cheaper than like the Zoom recorders or whatever. But again, this whole thing, putting this in my pocket, getting the microphone in place, testing it, getting the audio synced in, like it's friction that I do not enjoy when I'm doing this daily kind of content. So hopefully I will have a new preamp tomorrow and a new audio cable tomorrow, and we'll have to go through, I went through a whole bunch of testing with this guy the last time. I'll have to do that with the new one to make sure I get the gain correct for the camera and all that sort of stuff. Hopefully we'll be able to make it work. So that was a very frustrating weekend for me. I did get work done on the desk project. It now has 3 coats of oil on the top, and I've got probably 3 more to go, so it'll be another week before, let's see. I did the oiling on Sunday, so tomorrow I'll be able to put the next coat on, and then Thursday, and then Saturday, and then probably a week after that I'll be able to use it. It takes a while. It's linseed oil. Oh, and I built myself a new cart. I'll show it. Hopefully I'll remember to videotape it. I built a sanding cart with an overhead arm. I'm waiting on a hose and a vacuum switch to show up because I want to have the hose coming down. Instead of trying to pull the sander off onto the floor, it'll come down to the sander. So, and that will replace, like, all of the stuff you see on this cart was on the shelf of the old workbench. And so now that I'm not going to put a shelf down here, I'm not going to have drawers, I needed a place to put all that. I also needed a place for power so that I wasn't tripping over cables or trying to move this bench around cables all the time. So I attached that to the sanding cart. And then I had on the wall, you can't see it now, it was back here. I don't know if you probably can't see the Google speaker. Maybe you can. There was a sandpaper holder that I made there years ago. It held like 60, 80, 120, 150, and 220 sandpaper for my sander. So I made the cart the size to fit that as a drawer. And I made a secondary drawer. This is all just random scrap stuff that I had laying around, like furniture I got that somebody gave me that was broken and falling apart. Used pieces of that, pieces of leftover 2x4s from the bench builds and the desk build, some hooks I had laying around, a piece of 1-inch dowel for the swivel top. I was going to use a strap hinge, but then I remembered to have this 1-inch dowel. I figured that would work great. It's just holding a hose and a power cord. It's not going to hold the weight of the sander. So now I have a place. I have a sanding station that I can roll around and use it wherever, and that's exciting. So I did get stuff done. Unfortunately, the thing that I needed to get done didn't happen, so I have to resort to doing things the hard way. But that's okay. It's just for a couple days. Maybe tomorrow it'll be fixed and I won't have to deal with it. Maybe it won't. I don't know. But we shall see. What'd you do this weekend? Anything exciting? Oh, Em and I played a whole lot of Earth. Like, a whole lot of Earth. a concerning amount of. We play that game a lot, and we really, really like it. And my friend's coming back from Gen Con. He's bringing me the Kickstarter components, so I'm really excited to have the wooden bits and the insert, the box insert. So, what'd you get up to? Anything exciting? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is rouillé. It is a noun meaning a dissolute man in fashionable society, a rake. A petty wife is something for the fastidious vanity of roué to retire upon. Thomas Moore, an Irish poet and songwriter. Rouillé, R-O-U-E with a... And that was not a petty wife, it was a pretty wife. I like petty wife better though.